my Run Your Story family. This is Alison Gilliard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And so excited because there's no better way to kick off season 3. Can you believe it? We just celebrated 2 years of launching this podcast, which means we are entering season 3. And no better way to do that than with my incredible friend, Amber Fillingim. She is just a phenomenal human being. November means so much to me personally because not only is it the birth month of this podcast, but it is also the month that we take aside and we thank our veterans. And no better way to do that this month than with Amber, who is a veteran herself. One of the things that she really helped me understand in this story is that we can all do small things to help our veterans, to help our military families, to be able to give them a safe place. And we definitely need to be a voice for them. We definitely need to be advocates for them. And so I highly encourage you that if you have not thanked a veteran this month, this week, do so. Guys, let's make a huge difference in a small way. And that's what Amber shares. And I am so encouraged by her. I appreciate her and her service so much. And what a runner she is. She's just absolutely a doll. And I'm so thankful I got to know her and how we've been connected. And I signed up for an event that's coming up this Saturday because of Amber. I had no idea about this event. And so if you are local, Mobile or Baldwin County, I highly encourage you to come out and let's support our veterans and those that have lost their community through suicide. We should be there for them because we get to run free because of our men and women who wear the boots for us. And so I'm eternally grateful to all of our servicemen and women. Thank you so much for what you do for our country, for what you do for us, and taking up that call. And so on behalf of Run Your Story, to every veteran and to every serviceman, thank you. And I hope you know that you are seen and you are heard and you are beautiful. I hope that you know that you always have a place in the running community. Whether that's you want to come walk, you want to rock, you want to run with us, please know that you have these incredible different running groups who would love nothing more than to spend time with you on the pavement. And so you can find out more about these running groups on the Run Your Story website. They also are all over Facebook. You can reach out to me personally and I would love to get you connected depending on what your goals are. But again, I want to say thank you to our servicemen and to our veterans and to your families. Guys, thank you so much for all the sacrifices that have been seen and unseen, and for who you are, and for the calling that you've had on your life to protect this great country. You guys are my heroes, and I am so thankful for each and every one of you. And speaking of that, and speaking of a company that believes in veterans, that is Fresh Junkie Racing. I am so excited to be partnering with them this month. I love being an ambassador for them, and I cannot say enough great things about them. They try so hard to take all runners' perspectives and walkers' perspectives, and really they just want to put on fun running events to help the community, whether it's helping the community economically. Whenever we travel, I go to several of their races that are out of state, and so I'm really excited about going back to Louisiana. I'm really excited about possibly the Auburn one, but we'll definitely be in Tuscaloosa for the Tuscaloosa 5K and half marathon. But guys, definitely check out my friends at Fresh Junkie Racing. They put on premier running events. Right now there's 20 events that span from Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. And they give back so much to this community, not only through the economics of it by bringing in runners from all over, but also through nonprofits. So when you go and you register for a race, they're going to have the option to pick a nonprofit, and they try so hard to be intentional about their pricing. One of the beautiful things that they do is with Battleship 12K, when it first launches, for so many hours, it is $22, and then it's very significant. And Amber shares about that in the podcast. And so definitely check out my friends at freshjunkie.racing.com. You can also check them out on Run Your Story as well. And for any running event with Fresh Junkie Racing, you can use code RYS15 and and that will save you some money, and you can use that money to turn around and donate to a nonprofit. So again, to Mike and the gang at Fresh Junkie Racing, you guys are an amazing company. Thank you for all that you do and for believing in the running community and always giving back. They are absolutely phenomenal. You're not going to meet a better group of people. So thank you to Fresh Junkie Racing. Thank you for believing in Runner Story. And thank you for putting on my favorite race, Battleship 12K. Can't wait to see you guys there. All right, guys, get ready, get set, and go run with an American hero, Amber, and her run. Thank you, Amber, so much for being on here. It is such an honor. One, because how we got to know each other is through veterans, like I think it was RWB. And so really excited to get to know that organization is starting up in our area. So super cool about that. But also you're a veteran. And one, just thank you for your service. Veterans and soldiers, y'all have such a place in my heart. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because I know we wouldn't be where we are as a country. I wouldn't be able to go run 5 miles if I wanted to because of your service. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for serving this country.
It's always so weird when somebody says thank you. I loved it. I wanted to be in the military since I was like 6 years old. So yes, thank you for your support.
Love it. So thank you for being here and sharing your story, because not only are you going to be talking about your story, but also what we can do to help our veterans. Yes. So I'm really excited about this. So let's get started. How does your run story start, Amber?
So back in the day in elementary school, you had to run a lap or two or whatever in PE. I despised it. Absolutely hated it. Hated it. Joined the military at 21. The one thing I despised was running. Served for 8 years. Once I hit about the 1 year mark of being out of uniform, the one thing I missed was running.
Whoa.
The one thing I hated. Yep. And I was just like, oh, okay then. So I slowly just started picking up on running and then got more involved in the local running community with Run and Try and Aaron and the summer run group and all that. And here I am. And that was about 13 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah.
That is good. So do you know what it was that made you miss running from that transition?
I feel like it was because that's the one thing I struggled with during PT and stuff. So it was almost, I felt maybe if I picked it up or picked it back up rather, being out of uniform, it would almost connect me a little bit more to my service time in a different kind of way, if that makes sense. I was always good with sit-ups. That was my favorite. That was my absolute favorite. I would rather do 300 sit-ups than run half a mile. But yeah, so we had to run, our PT test is 2 miles each time, or if we're doing actual just physical training, being anywhere from 2 miles to 10 miles, depending on what day it was. And I always hated it. But like I said, that was the one thing about a year after uniform, I was just like, you know what? I think I might like that. So yeah, and I just fell in love with it.
Wow. That is such a wild story.
It is. And I guess I hadn't thought about it in so long till you asked me to do this podcast, and I was like, actually, okay, I remember why I fell in love with running.
Wow.
So yeah.
Man, what has been your favorite race?
Okay, so that is such a loaded question. There's so many.
Sure, yeah.
I'm an all in or all out kind of person.
Okay.
So about a year into running on my own, I started registering for races.
Okay.
And I think that first year I did about 10.
That's a lot of races for your first year.
And I loved it. Okay. And there are times I was super slow.
Sure.
And it didn't matter because the run community, they're like, it doesn't matter. We're just going to cheer you on regardless. Some of my favorite humans in the run community are athletes. They do Ironman competitions for fun and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, go y'all. I'll see you at the 5K. So I want to say the holiday half of 2016. That was my first registered half marathon. I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed the fact that I was able to do that distance. And to this date, that is the furthest distance I have done is half marathon distance. But there's also, in 2016, I actually directed a race, the Jingle Bell Jog in Satsuma.
Okay.
I was a PTO mom. My daughter went to Satsuma Christian, little small school. And we were in a PTO meeting. They were looking for ideas for fundraising. And one of the other moms was like, you run races? And I'm like, I do. She's like, why don't you put together a race? I'm like, I just don't think it's that easy. They're like, okay, we'll figure it out. I'm like, say less. They're raising money for the computer lab or something. So I was like, okay. So I got in touch with Aaron at Run and Try, got in touch with Miss Peggy at Little Red Hen Production. I used the networking I already had, and some of the parents and staff at the school, they helped me get donations and stuff together. We had the kids make all the awards, make ornaments, because it was during Christmas time. So if you placed or whatever, you got a handmade ornament from one of the kids, stuff like that. And then we had close to 120 people register.
That's huge.
For a first race. Somebody who's never directed a race. I was not upset. And all my people, the running community, people I've met through the community, they were all there. I was like, okay. So I had intentions on keeping that going, but October of 2016, my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Wow.
So I finished out all my races that I'd already registered for, the one I'd already committed to directing. And then when she passed away the following year, I just drifted off trying to get everything back together. So, but yeah, I would say it's one of those two.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's another one too. I was talking to Aaron today. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a night race, and it was for autism. And there was glow sticks, and the shirt had puzzle pieces on it. And because it had been raining that day, a lot of people didn't come out for it. A lot of people that were registered.
Yeah.
So that is the only race I've ever placed in. I placed in top of my age group and then third overall. And I was so thankful. And I called every one of them. I was like, I just want to let y'all know, thank you for staying home. They're like, why? I'm like, I finally placed in a race. They're like, oh my God, congratulations, Amber.
That's amazing.
So those are my top 3.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, listen, been there, done that. Last year when I placed first in This Is Life 5K, I was like, hey, I mean, I was shocked. I felt like Miss America moment because that name's not supposed to go with first place. It's been way too long. And I was like, wow, thank you everyone else. That was fast for staying home that day.
Yes.
That, I love that.
Literally, that was my exact words. I'm like, thank you so much.
Yeah. And then I placed, speaking of a handmade ornament, the Reindeer Run 5K a few years ago, they had, it was so cute. It's one of my little decorations during Christmas, and I got third. And
Is
I
that
was
the one they do in Satsuma now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they started that one the year or two after.
Love that. Okay.
And I wish I would have kept up with the Jingle Bell Jog, but I'm glad that Satsuma has that one now.
Yeah.
That they have something.
It's always hot. Such a hot race.
That is true.
I love that, though. I love that you saw a need, even though you were voluntold.
I was, which was the story of my life. And obviously, anyone who knows anything about military, anything, you don't volunteer. They just tell you what you're volunteering for. Like, being voluntold, that it is what it is. So I have a hard time saying no even now. I've been out 10 years, and I still have a hard time saying no. Like, and then the day comes and I'm like, oh, I'll do it with a smile. Yeah. And I'll say no next time, and then I don't. That's still whatever it is.
It's that servant heart inside of you, girl. That servant heart.
It took me a long time to realize that.
Oh, man. So let's go into a routine.
Okay.
Do you have a pre-race routine?
Kind of.
Okay.
So the day before a race, I always would get an extra large Mountain Dew Polar Pop.
Okay.
From Circle K.
Okay.
And a hot dog with...
Wait, this is day before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Lunch. This is lunch day before.
Okay.
With nacho cheese and jalapenos. And then for dinner, I would eat spaghetti.
Okay.
And garlic bread. Because any excuse to carb up is...
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what I'm here for. And that's probably part of the reason why I'm a less than average runner. But that was my... That's my pre-routine.
I love that so much. That sounds like something a champion would eat right there.
Oh yeah, and I'll send Snapchats. So my friends are like, "Why are you like this? You're never changing, are you?" I'm like, "Nope."
Oh man. Oh. All right, you crossed the finish line. Yes. What does post-race look like for you?
It looks like hanging out and explaining how miserable it was. Chances are how hot it was if the race was down here. And then trying to figure out which race I'm going to register for next.
Oh,
it's one okay. And it's all in the same breath. Yeah, I'm like, God, I'm never doing this again. So, which one are we doing next, guys? Yep.
Oh, Amber, you're amazing. Absolutely amazing. Do you have a favorite running item? Like, this item you cannot go run without?
Yes. My socks.
Oh,
okay. So most of my people know if they're looking for me on the run route, because chances are, like I said, most of my people are super fast athletes. They'll come back and find me like, come on, Amber, let's go ahead and get this done. Let's get to the after race party. I wear knee-high socks.
Okay.
And usually they're either a bright color or they're striped or some type of design. Or if it's a race that has a certain purpose, I'll wear socks that correlate with that type of stuff.
Oh, I like it. Is there a certain brand that you like of sock for that? Oh, okay.
I left one thing out.
Go ahead.
For the favorite race. So technically, I guess it's not a registered race, but the 4th of July annual race at Run and Try.
Oh, that is fun.
Every year like clockwork. It don't matter what I have going on in life, whether I'm running at that point in time or not, I do my best to not miss that. And it's honestly, in my opinion, it's because it's the friends that have become family in the community. It is just one of my favorite annual events. I just remembered. So yeah.
I will say it is a great, I agree. However, I have yet to win anything
I don't want to
raffle
hear it. Same.
prize from that time. None. Do you hear me? None.
No, I feel that. Yes. I haven't either.
I haven't even made it to rock, paper, scissors. For shoes. Nothing.
Yeah, no, I haven't even, my number hasn't been called for anything. And I've been a very faithful Run and Try customer, Run and Try friend. But yeah, no.
Next year, you and me, boo. Next year.
All right.
Maybe we should.
If it
Is there a way that we can stuff the box?
Right.
We're going to have to find some way around this. Here's what we do. We do a covert mission. Okay?
Like
so somehow we get everyone distracted and we're just stuffing our names with the tickets.
The only problem with that is I think most of them show up in hopes for that one drawing for the shoes.
We just tell them
we got to figure it out.
We got to figure it out. We got time.
We have about half a year to figure it out.
Oh my God, don't say that. Half a
I'm
year.
Here for it.
Oh my God, I love that so much. All right. Running shoes. What do you run in?
Oh, hands down, it's all I've ran in the last 10 years. Aaron has tried to get me to try other ones.
But it's like that hot dog. Yeah,
and I just
can't change them.
So about 2 years ago, I bought a pair of On Clouds. But not like the running ones, just the casual ones.
Sure.
Because I'm also a late in life student at the University of South Alabama. So just for around campus, because I don't like wearing my running shoes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's only been a recent past couple years things with me. So I bought 3 or 4 pair of On Clouds over the past 2 years just for walking purposes. A couple months ago, I actually bought a pair of the running ones. I don't like them to run in.
Yeah.
So now they're also walking shoes.
Ooh.
Brooks. I don't know why, but that's, yep.
Okay.
Even at times when I took a break from running, I would still stop in and I would convince myself if I buy a new pair of Brooks, I'm going to start running again.
Hey.
Aaron finally picked up on that after a few pair. He's like, I hadn't seen you running. I'm like, no, but this time. He's like, oh, okay. All right, is that what we're telling Jerry? Is that what we're telling your husband? I'm like, yes. I'm getting back into running. He's like, okay, Amber. So, I love Brooks.
That's fantastic. Okay. That's good. That's good. Besides fueling with a hot dog and Mountain Dew, for your longer runs, do you take anything to fuel with?
I do not.
Okay.
I've tried the gel packets and the honeycombs, and I'm real funny about textures. So they just don't sit well with me. I've tried them, but other than my Mountain Dew and hot dogs, it's water. One extreme to the other. The longer runs, I do try to remember to either wear my hydration belt or have a bottle of water to run with.
Okay. Do you have a favorite running memory? Like when you think about running, this memory just stays with you.
Yes. I have 2. I have a funny one and a serious one.
Sure.
So for the
I'm shocked by that.
So, as I mentioned earlier, my mom passed away in 2017. So, I took about a year. I just disappeared. I didn't disappear. I was still present. I was going to work and stuff. But the running community, other activities that I've always done, I just had to step back for a little bit.
Sure.
My first race back a year later was the Hurricane 5K on Dolphin Island.
That's a hot one.
That is very much a hot one. That's a hot one. The Bond 5K is a hot one. They're all hot. They're all hot. And Allison Cross Reese. one of my favorite humans. I met through Run and Try's summer run, Holla at the Dollar, years ago. She saw me there. She's like, oh my gosh, you're doing... I was like, yeah, I'm back for this one anyways. So, and of course, I picked up some weight. I'm slower than normal, which is fine. No big deal. Well, she finishes her race, and then she comes and finds me on the race course, which is fine. But it's where the photographer is set up, right in front of I can see it in my head. The water view, there's boats right behind it. It's picture perfect for them to get. She's in every one of those pictures, doing jumping jacks and stuff along the side of me while I'm running. The background, she's in it is hilarious. I will find those and show you. Like, that's one of my favorite things about her. And as far as the race goes, the holiday half in 2016, my buddy Steven Orso, who I've also met through running, he actually, because it was my first registered half, I don't remember if he had just had surgery, because he wasn't running, but he was bicycling.
Okay.
So he brought his bike out and rode the course while I ran it. And he'd just circle around, and every few minutes he'd be like, hey, stop, it's time to pick up the pace. Let's go ahead and go.
Wow.
Yes, I hit several PRs that day.
Oh, well, you were going to PR no matter what, first half.
Well, I had done a half, but on my own time. It just wasn't registered.
Okay.
But my goal was, the first time I ran half distance, it was the day my grandmother passed away. And I pulled a Forrest Gump, started running until I just couldn't anymore, in which it was earlier October that year. And I lost my train. So I did it in a little over 3 hours. I'm like, okay, I'm going to register for the holiday half, because basically I'm a pro half marathoner
100%,
now. I did it this one time, I'm good. And my goal was, I was like, I want to do it in under 3 hours. So that meant cutting about 15 minutes off, a significant amount. I can do that. And so I started conditioning myself. I had a few weeks to get ready. And I did it, and I think my time was 2:46.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a big part of that, in my opinion, was Orso, because he wouldn't get out of my ear. He's like, it's time. Let's do this. I'm like, if you will shut up. He's like, I'll shut up when you pass the finish line. I'm like, say less. Say less.
You're the one that's on the bike. I'm over here with...
Right. So, but yeah.
Oh, that is... I say all the time, we have the best running community.
We really do. I just... There's so many. It's hard to narrow down.
Yeah.
There's the O'Daly 5K that we all used to do, or the Green Dress Run that we all used to do, and Allison, Lamy, and Paul.
Oh my gosh.
I have so many pictures of all of us from those days. And again, even the times when I wasn't running, I would still come out and support them, and I'll be on the race course somewhere handing out water, whatever. And there's just so many, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I love our running community, because it doesn't matter how long I'm gone from it. When I show up, it's like, oh, it's good to see you. It's not, where have you been? Why haven't you been here in 6 months? It's not a lecture. It's good to see you.
Yeah, that's so good. When you cross the finish line and you've already said, okay, what next race? Is there something that you're like, I really want to eat? Do you have that?
PBR.
Okay.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. And 9 times out of 10, it's not there. So I'll usually get a Coca-Cola and a bag of chips, or an orange. I do like oranges at all times, anytime, even if I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
And there's an orange, I'm like, is that somebody's? Because I'll have it. So any race that has fruit, preferably oranges, that's what I go for. If not, I'll just get a bag of chips. Again, one extreme to the other.
Yeah. It sounds like balance. Really, honestly, that's what
feel,
it sounds
right?
like.
Okay. See,
I got you.
You just validated that, so no one can tell me anything else. That's it. The end.
And when you're running, do you listen to running jams at all?
I do not.
Okay.
Not typically. I've tried once or twice. So I have really small ear holes, and it's hard to find earbuds that will fit in my ear. But when I'm running, so I'm not a group runner or a partner runner. I just show up to group events, run, and then come back and hang out.
Sure.
I'm self-aware in general, but I like to know what's going on around me. I like to hear nature. I like to hear my breathing. I like to hear my foot patting the asphalt. That's just, I love it. I don't know why, but I do.
Okay. What is your favorite recovery tool?
I have learned to invest in a gel ice pack.
Okay.
For knee. I have 2 of them now, so I put one on each knee because my knee's not the same as they used to be. Typically, I'll ice down my knees. Sometimes I also have a gel face ice mask, a whole face one.
Ooh, okay.
I have chronic migraines, and that is one of the best things for it. But after a race, after I get home and I'm decompressing, like I'll take that, put that on my face, put my ice packs on my knees, strap them on because they're Velcro.
Yeah.
And then I'll just lay there till I feel relaxed and comfortable.
It's an isolated cold plunge.
Yes.
I like it. Okay.
If I could find a tub I could do a cold plunge in, and I had somewhere to put it outside with a roof over it, I'd do one every day. I don't know why, but I love it.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, you sold me on the face mask thing. That sounds delightful.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Do you have a cross-training activity?
I do not.
Okay.
I've never...
Okay. That's fair.
I wish I did. I hear that helps. I could probably afford to invest in a cross-training hobby rather than hot dogs and Mountain Dew, but I've never... I'm not... So, for me, I know that my upper body strength is very weak, and I have more strength in my lower body. So weights, anything to do with arms, I'm sure I could do it. I could work my way up to it, but I have no interest in it because I immediately would suck at it. And that's a lot of work. I don't have time for it. Wish I did.
That is great. Is there a race that you're like, I don't know that I'll go back and do?
If I had to pick one... Crime Prevention 5K.
Oh, well, they don't have that race anymore anyway, so.
I can't imagine why. My God. I ran it a couple of times. I love the calls. And that's the only reason why I put myself through that. And I did it for 2 or 3 years. But yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Because even races that either were a bad time for me or I injured myself or whatever, I still try to find some type of silver lining, some type of good that came from it. So it wasn't a waste. It wasn't terrible. Like, yes, I may have blown my knee out. However,
I got the bling.
Yeah. Here we are.
Got it. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to start running and walking?
If you want to do it, just make it happen. You're the only one that can. It's going to sound like a crazy analogy, but just like the military, in my opinion, running, you get out of it what you put in it. Just like with the military, you're going to come across people that have the best experiences, the worst experiences. And 9 times out of 10, if you trace it back, it's you got what you put in. Whether it's a lot of effort, a little effort. Same thing with running, walking, or anything really. You know, college, I decided at 35, I would apply to college for the first time. Got accepted to South and started. That was that May of 2021. I turned 36 July and I started my first semester August.
Wow.
I wanted to be done in less than 4 years, the 4 years that it takes to get a bachelor's degree. So I went to school year round. I was taking anywhere between 16 and 19 credit hours a semester.
Wow.
I was taking 12 credits each summer because that's all they let me do. And I graduated in May with my bachelor's in 2 years and 9 months.
Whoa, that's huge.
And then jumped straight into my grad program 3 weeks later.
Wow.
So when I finish this semester in December, I will actually be halfway through my master's.
Wow.
And my goal with that was I want to finish my master's in less than 2 years because that's what I've been told at the university. That's pushing it, doing it in 2 years because you got to take time. I'm like, cool. I'm going to do it in less than 2 years. They're like, don't set your expectations too high. I'm like, okay, say less. And they'll only let me take, during the spring and fall, you can only take 3 classes at the master's level because that's full time. And then summer, they'll only let you take 2. But the catch is trying to find which classes will go with your master's degree and what they're offering. So far, I took 2 classes over the summer. I'm in 3 right now. And looking towards the spring schedule, because I will register for classes on the 28th, is when my time ticket opens. There's 3 classes I can take in the spring, And then whether I take classes in summer or not, or fall, I'll be done either in a year or a year and a half. That's less than 2 years, so I'm happy.
Dude, that's amazing. Wow.
I also have a 17-year-old that I need her to understand that whatever you want to do, you can do it. You just got to make it happen. Yeah. You know, don't sit back and wait for somebody, because that ain't never going to come around. If you want it, do it. So.
That's so good. Oh, I love that. Let's talk about a mantra. Is there something you tell yourself, as you talked about, like you don't listen to music, you're not a group runner. So is there something like when you want to quit, whether on the pavement or in school, do you have a mantra that you tell yourself besides say less?
Right. Give good. That was actually my mother's mantra all my life. That was her thing. It was just give good. It don't matter who sees it. It don't matter who notices. Expect nothing in return for it. Everything works out the way it's supposed to. You end up where you're supposed to be. Maybe today, maybe 10 years from now, but you'll get to where you're going. Just give good. Be a decent human.
That's good. That's oh, wow. Man. Goals? Do you have any? Besides graduating, masters?
So, other than the master's program, my goal for this year was to work my way up to a full marathon distance.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't happen. So, that is actually my goal for the end of next year.
Okay.
So, between, I think, February of last year to present day, I've lost 80 pounds.
You go, girl.
So, my mom, obviously, when she got sick, I said, I finished out, I was in my peak health. Since I was in the military, I was in the best shape I had been in years. And then she got sick, which was fine because I still had races. I was running, directing, everything. But when she passed away, June of 17, I just said, okay, I just can't. Even though I run for my clarity, I run for my mental health, I just couldn't do it. There was just too, I say I spiraled, and people have different definitions of spiraling. Sure. My definition for that first year after she passed away, I disassociated with everything in life. I did the bare minimum to stay afloat in general, to make sure I was doing the bare minimum, and I was good with that because that's the only energy I had.
Sure.
So this past February, I went in for a doctor's appointment for annual labs and all that, and my doctor's like, you're borderline hypertension, and you are pre-diabetic. I was like, cool. What now? She's like, good news is you can control both of these. Bad news is if you don't, you're going on medicine the rest of your life. I'm like, okay, so what do I do? She's like, I'm going to give you a dietary plan. You don't have to stay strictly to it, but basically you get out of it what you put in. You can either correct these issues, these health issues, or you cannot. You're the only one that can. So yeah, I decided to kick it in gear and do better. And obviously now that over the last year and a half, I've had weight coming off, because it didn't all happen at one time. I've slowly started jumping back into some races, the 4th of July run, just here and there. And I'm on campus Monday through Friday, so I'm constantly walking. And so, but yes, my primary goal is by the end of 2025, full marathon distance, just once. I just want it one time.
Yeah. Do you have a run that you want to do? A marathon that you're looking at?
Honestly, with me being here in Mobile, it'd probably be the Mobile one.
Okay.
I have done the relay for the half for that one, a team relay years ago. But I would probably do that one.
Okay. Yeah.
And then from there, I might look outside the Mississippi or the Gulf Coast one, the Louisiana one.
Yeah.
But I just think with me being home and being so connected, I think I would like that to be the one.
Okay. All right. Okay. What is your favorite length to run? Whether that's race day or it's a training run. Do you have a certain distance that you're like, ooh, I get to go run this?
So I thought about that. Preparing for this podcast, there's a couple of different things I was just thinking about. And one of the things I thought about was distance. Because I run anything from a half mile to a half marathon.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, if it's just a normal day, 5 miles, I think that for me, that's the average, because when I was actively running and preparing for races 5 days a week, 5 miles, that was once I got up to that is where I stayed. Like, okay, I like this 5 mile. If I felt like it gave me endurance, it was what I needed to be able to stay where I needed to be consistently. I'm also a sprinter. It's funny watching me run races because I sprint and then I walk and then I sprint. I love distance and I got long legs, but my legs only like to work in short intervals very fastly, and it's a whole mess. All of it. So yeah, I'd say 5 distance is a good average for me.
5 miles. You
5
like
miles,
that 5 mile? Oh no, you're right. You like that 5 miler.
I do. Okay. And I've done the Battleship 12K several times, and I'm okay with the 7 mile distance. I used to do I don't even know if they still do it now, the 8K by the bay. Yeah. That's right at 5 miles, right?
Yeah, the old Mobile 8K now. Yes. That's what they do now. Yeah.
But I think that is the race that convinced me that, okay, this is a good distance.
Yeah.
So.
That is, you're right. And 8K is a good distance. Like, you're not feeling like, oh, I have to hurry and finish this for the 5K.
Right.
So you're like, okay, I can relax a little. Yeah. That's good.
And I used to run it back when they don't do it at Brooklyn anymore, do they?
And now it's at the old Mobile area.
Historic district.
Yeah.
So when I used to run it, it was at Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I have a very strong personal connection to Brooklyn. That's where I was stationed my 8 years. So I was Army Reserves for 8 years, and then I spent a year in Iraq. But yeah, me and Brooklyn go way back.
Oh, I love that. I think starting there and finishing at the finish line is beautiful because it's right by the water. It's amazing. I mean, the new 8K, it's great. It's beautiful. But still, something about the water, and we don't have a lot of runs out there, you know,
Right.
So I had no idea that there was a base out there. That's cool.
There's a couple of different reserve units.
Okay.
Then there's also an active Coast Guard.
Yeah, okay, I knew about Coast Guard. Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
Wow. Oh, I love that. All right, when you're not running, obviously your family fuels you. You are a family person.
I am.
But what else are you passionate about?
Okay, so obviously I've talked about being a veteran. When I'm not running, any free time that I do have when I'm not running or in school, I'm constantly trying to find ways to get active within the local veteran community. I think it was 9 years ago, 2015, this group came down. It's when they started the Silky Rucks. Some people may be familiar with them, but it was Donnie O'Malley. He's a Marine. He came down, and it was called something, but there was a group of us that helped him get the group together here in Mobile of veterans to get the first one up and going. And it's basically to raise awareness for veteran suicide. It's just a bunch of veterans hanging out. It's the camaraderie. It's wild because sometimes it doesn't even matter if y'all knew each other before an event like that. You meet people that are like-minded and that end up sticking with you for years. There are people I met 9 years ago at that I still deal with daily now because it's just it's the likeness. You know, it doesn't matter which branch. It doesn't matter what point in time you served. It's the fact that you also took the oath. You also made this commitment. So part of you understands a part of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got started with that in the local community. And then again, when Mom got sick, took a step back. I've done 1 or 2 since. But it's a 22K ruck. Yes. Recently, I was asked a couple months ago by J.D. Drinkard to join the committee that is putting on the Ruck the Bay event November 9th in Daphne. So this is their very first event, and it is also to bring awareness to veteran suicide, especially locally. And he started up I've Got Your Six Gulf Coast. And he's a veteran himself. And we're actually having yard signs made. So there's different mileages. You can go 1 mile, 5 miles, however.
Okay.
But along the route, I think that we've got 7 different local veterans that have taken their lives. And we have yard signs with their information, their pictures. So I met him at a veteran meeting months ago. And when I found out who he was, I was like, oh, I actually have 3 good friends over the years, military, that have taken their life. I would love for you to include them. And then it just went from there. He's like, oh, okay. So here's our next meeting. Would you like to join us? I was like, absolutely. And it has been amazing working with them. I love it. But yeah, that is November 9th. So yeah, in my free time, if I have it, that's usually where I'm at. I also, I don't know why, but I recently was offered a job as customer service / bar security for a newer bar here in Mobile. So I'm also doing that, which I'm actually head of security now. It was just going to be a 1 day a week thing. But I've fallen in love with it. Never worked in a bar a day in my life. When I came home from Iraq, I did frequent the bars here in Mobile. Sure. So a lot of the people I know from years past, and I have thoroughly enjoyed working with them. I cannot explain it. It's long nights, but I don't sleep well anyway. So if I'm not doing that and actually making a paycheck, I'm at home doing something, annoying somebody because I can't sleep. So, I'm also the president of the Student Veterans of America's chapter at the University of South Alabama.
Wow.
So I'm also working on trying to get our group more community active, because for the most part it's people close to my age. It's non-traditional students or it's dependents of service members. So we're trying to get more active on campus as well as in the community in Mobile. So
I love that. How can we as a community support our veterans? What can we do?
So, show up. Even if it's events, say, the Ruck the Bay is not just for vet. Anybody in the community that wants to participate, they can. They want to come out and stand along the route because they don't want to walk or run. They can do that. Or if they want to register and participate, they're more than welcome to. But even events that are not just that are catered to just veterans, you can always show up and just offer, how can I volunteer? I'm not a vet, I'm not a service member, but I do care. What can I do to help? Anything like that. The biggest issue, it's no secret, is the lack of mental health resources among our veterans and service members. The VA likes to put out an annual report each year, and a few years ago that's where the number 22 came from. 22 a day, veterans taking their lives. Recently, I was informed when I sent an email up to Montgomery asking questions about trying to get some things going in our local community for veteran suicide awareness. I mentioned the 22 a day or whatever, and the email was sent back and it said the number's actually 17 now.
Whoa.
And the fact that is what that particular person focused on, it just, I was actually, the number's closer to 44. Because the only numbers that are in the VA's annual report are veterans that are registered with the VA. If you're not registered with the VA, you don't exist. I mean, you exist, but you're not
counted towards that.
Exactly. You're not counted towards any of their numbers for anything. And I've done my research. Since I started at South for my undergrad, my public speaking class, my English 101 and 102 class, when you had to pick different themes for papers and stuff, every chance I've gotten, I've tried to find a way to connect my service time or mental health among veterans, one way or another. And that was my way of getting the word out there to people who typically may not encounter veterans, may not be as well informed because they're not a part of the veteran community. No one expects everybody to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
But if you know a veteran, and the best thing I can say is if you know one and they're more quiet than normal, you haven't heard from them lately, or they're just always okay, or they're extremely busy so they don't have time for anything else, just check in. Like, hey, and that's not just for veterans, that's anybody.
Sure.
Everybody deals with mental health stuff. It's not just us. We're just a small percentage that it, you know. But it's too easy to just be kind. Because you don't know. You don't know. One of my closest friends of 16 years took his life last October. We just hit the 1 year, October 12th. It was a couple hours before his 36th birthday. We served together. I met him I joined in 06. He got put in our unit in 07. We deployed together. He was 21, I was 23 when we deployed. And then came home. We stayed friends. I mean, he was local. I was local. He lived an entire life of service. He was a volunteer firefighter for years. Served an honorable contract with the military. He was a combat vet. And at the time of his death, he was a police officer.
Wow.
Literally lived a life of service. And what people don't understand is sometimes the cost of living that kind of life is you can save everybody but yourself. So it's been a rough year with that. Part of the way I deal with it, I stay in touch with his mother, who I knew of prior to this, because we're grown. It's not we're teenagers hanging out with our parents and stuff. And every few weeks, me and Miss Susan, we do our best to try and make time for each other. We'll hang out, grab lunch. When all this happened last year, for a week, there was people in and out of my house. We had Major Rubin. She came in from Chicago. She was one of our officers when we deployed. And she actually was not in our chain of command, but me and Brandon decided that she was going to be our person because our leadership was all over the place. And we were like, ma'am, you were enlisted, you were an E6, you're a lieutenant now, we need you. Please help us. And I'm actually going to her. She's being promoted next month to lieutenant colonel. So I'm going to her promotion ceremony next month. But she flew in from Chicago. Her and Brandon stayed in touch, but she flew in because she knew. She knew. A buddy of ours came in from Kentucky. One came in from San Antonio. No, California somewhere. And while they came under the pretense that it was for Brandon's services, they were in and out of my house 24/7 for a week to make sure I was good. I mean, that's just that. It just is what it is. Yes, they were there to pay their respects, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we gotta make sure Smitty's good. One of my battle buddies is the one who had to call me and tell me at 7:21 in the morning on the 13th, on Brandon's birthday. I still feel bad it was him that called me because he just listened to all the emotions for 10 minutes and he just sat there on the phone. He's just like, okay, because we were good friends with him too, you know. And finally, after about 10 minutes, I was like, okay. I said, what do I do now? He's like, you got to call y'all's people. I was like, okay, I got this. I can handle this. You know, I've handled some really serious situations in my life. Making those phone calls and having to listen to some of the strongest humans I've ever known in my life break down, it was just like, oof. It was awful, awful. And so this year, I checked with Brandon's mom. I'm like, hey, last year it helped having people in and out of my house. I think I want to offer anybody that wants to come over on his birthday on the 13th. I said, I don't want to talk to anybody on the 12th. If I could, I'd wipe the 12th off of the calendar. I was like, with your permission, if you're not okay with it, I will just get with a few people. We won't advertise it or anything. But I would like to invite some of our friends over in honor and to celebrate his birthday. But I would also like y'all to come. But just, if you want to. If not, that's okay. No pressure. But my house is open to y'all anytime. And I've invited them over several times over the past year. And we've always just met somewhere. Just went and had lunch. But they came. His parents came. His brother, he has an older brother, came in from El Paso, Texas. And a handful of our guys that we served with came, and we just grilled that Sunday and just hung out, and it's exactly what we needed. So yeah, kindness, it's a huge thing. I had talked to Brandon on October 11th, the day before it happened. I was returning his phone call because he called me the day before on the 10th. And then the morning of the 11th, I was like, crap, I didn't call Brandon back. Let me call him back. And I did, and we were on the phone for about an hour. Didn't pick up on anything. Nothing. And I've struggled with that up until recently. I'm like, there's nothing I could have done. But he was just joking and stuff. He had his own issues, but so many of us, he had gotten so well at masking it. Had I gotten this call about him 3 years prior, I'd have been like, that checks out. Because I knew he was in a bad spot. He knew different times I've been in a bad spot because we called each other about those things just to talk to someone. But it took the breath out of me. I didn't see it coming. None of us did really. And again, just like everybody has things going on that they don't talk about, it just is what it is. And even those that knew him best didn't even pick up on it. So kindness, I'm a huge advocate for kindness. I'm a huge advocate for heavy on the be safe and I love you. If they're important to you, make sure they know. I mean, my mother passed away at 52, stage 4 lung cancer. I'm almost 40. I'm 12 years from that. I'm terrified the closer I get to 52. And I know that sounds crazy. And I'm not a person who lives in fear, but it scares me.
Sure.
So yeah, just be a good human. That's my biggest thing. That's the best way you can help any veteran, any civilian, any stranger you'll never see again. A smile goes a long way in passing. Hey, how's it going? Goes a long way. For some people, that's the moment that changes their whole course. But yeah, that's the best way I know. There's not really a lot of advocating or anything that happens here in Mobile for veterans or like protesting or anything like that at the VA. So it's just trying to dig and find what's going on in your veteran community. And if it's something that you want to be a part of, contact whoever's, none of us are going to turn away help from the outside from someone wanting to know more about the issues we deal with.
Sure.
We want our voices heard.
Yeah. We
want other people being our voice and helping us in hopes that somebody will finally listen. So, but yeah.
Wow.
That was a long story for me to say, just be kind.
No, I love that's so huge. And as anybody that has signed up for Battleship 12K, one of the very first things they do when they open up registration is it's $22. And so they try to make sure that it's focused on, and they're doing different things this year with a veteran wall, and it's just all these really cool things. And that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, I run Battleship 12K. Yeah, and it's like, yes, I do it for my family, I do it for my friends, for those that have served. But that's
a starting point.
That is, yeah. But
don't
you're
be
also kind
dismissive
of like, no,
that.
yeah, no, I get, and it's my favorite. It's also such I don't know how anybody could not be and love their country and be patriotic at that race. It's just, you're given that American, and I get emotional every time I think about it. I've done this race for years, and anytime when you turn the corner and they give you that American flag, I start crying. And I'm every time. I know it's coming.
Same.
I know what to do. Same. But it's like, I'm so grateful. And you're just surrounded by people in all the tutus and people rocking and doing all the things. And you're like, this is what our country's about right here. That moment. And it's wow. And then you realize there are veterans that are doing this race. And there are veterans that this may have been like one of the toughest things they've had to do because they've gotten bad news or they're getting to celebrate, whatever. And so I am so full of so many different emotions, and I've not served, but I appreciate those that have. And so I'm grateful to be able to have this opportunity to be able to sit down with a veteran and to say thank you. And not only that, for being a voice for that community, as you said, that deserves to be heard.
I mean, for instance, this podcast, you're doing your part. You specifically reached out to me because I am a veteran. November is coming up. Veterans Day is coming up, and you wanted something to connect that to, in which I am also a runner. So I would say you're definitely on the right path. You're doing more than a lot do, if that makes sense. I said, not a soul owes a veteran anything. Yes, the majority of us did sign up. We weren't drafted. We did it of our own free will for whatever reasons, whether we wanted to, whether we needed insurance, whether we needed school benefits, whatever. However, I do feel like it is the government's responsibility that if they're going to spend all the money, they're going to strip us of everything we know, rebuild us the way they want us, to send us off places. I do feel it is their responsibility to take the burden of health care, especially when it comes to our mental health issues among veterans. I do feel that is something the government should do better with, should work on implementing better plans or better access to health care. The VA staff can only do so much.
Sure.
Some of them are just not nice people, but I've had better experiences than bad experiences with the VA. And they're understaffed. They're just like you and me when we go to our jobs. They can only do what they're allowed to do. And what we need is more resources, better access to being outsourced to other healthcare professionals. They've recently started that within the last couple of years. However, you have to jump through so many hoops just to get a referral to see someone that's in the network but not at the VA. And it's just like...
we got to do better.
Yeah. How is that going to help me in 2 years? Am I even still going to be here in 2 years? My appointment's in 2 freaking years. You know what I'm saying? That's not my case right now, but that is.
Sure.
I had a buddy of mine, I think May was 8 years, Bo Greenwood, a huge advocate for veteran suicide awareness. So much pain, and every time he went to the VA, they'd rather just shove pills down his throat rather than actually, hey, let's try therapy, let's try this. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was chronic back pain. We're gearing up for, I think it was our second ruck that May, and he killed himself the night before. And he was one of the biggest voices for it. That's how we started that morning, with the news that he wasn't going to be able to make it.
Wow. Because
of that, obviously, I went to his service, introduced myself to his wife, which, bless her heart, she was in shambles. One of my best friends now. She is a huge advocate for veteran mental health.
Sure.
She will actually be there November 9th, because obviously Bo is one of the names for one of the yard signs. She'll be there. She said, I knew whatever they want. I can speak, I can run, I can, whatever y'all need, y'all let me know. I was like, all right. So, you know, that for her, that's her way of giving back. And even though she lost so much that day in May, 8 years ago, she still is doing her best to help others. And she's not a veteran, but she tries to stay connected to the people that were connected to him. If she ever hears of anyone that's veteran or service connected in any way having an issue, she'll call them. She'll email whatever contact info she has, just to offer any kind of help, no matter what she has going on in her own life. And that's her way of helping. So it doesn't take grand gestures. It's just human decency.
Yeah.
You know, hey, how's it going? Hey, come share your story.
Wow, man. I will say this too. There's a Memorial Day run that goes from West Mobile to the Battleship. And we've been a part of that for a couple of years. One reason, because our son is gearing up for military. And so...
which branch?
Coast Guard.
Okay.
That's what he wants. So, but we wanted him to know, and it really hit me hard this year. As he was right, you know, that he was so proudly carrying that flag. And as a parent, to see your child just love this country so much. And I think that's why I'm asking, what can I do? Because
absolutely,
I want to make sure that we can advocate for all our veterans, for whatever it is. And as you said, if whatever you guys need, that you have those resources. And I know that you've said nobody owes me anything, but we do. As I shared earlier, I get to go run down the streets of Mobile in my running shoes because you guys have protected this country. You've made it to where, as a female, I can go and I don't have to worry about somebody throwing acid on me because I'm wearing tights or I'm out running, that sort of thing. We have our own issues as a country. But
absolutely.
But besides that, we are the freest there is.
They're still good to be found, regardless.
And it's because of our men and women in uniform. And so whatever I can do to help, I want to be that. Because you guys deserve that. You deserve more than that. So...
thank you. Well, you will definitely... so when does he leave?
Don't know. Well, he's finishing Marion Military Institute.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, once he joins and he goes off for his training and y'all get adjusted to that, like, trust me, your eyes will be open to so much more than I could ever open your eyes to me just being a veteran and speaking to me. It's different when it's yours. It's your son that is taking that oath, that is going to go off and serve. Like I said, you already care. You're already doing what you can to try and figure out what more you can do. But yeah, definitely once he joins, because he'll be able to tell you more. So this is what we have going on with this, and there's this family support group and this and that.
Sure.
And trust me, there is no limit to being involved in the veteran community. You're involved as much as you want to be, as much as you can be. I'm one of the Eagle volunteers for RWB, and I feel so bad because I've been so busy with everything else.
Sure.
And Jared, once a month right now, he's having to email me, hey, don't forget you're supposed to check in once a month or they're going to kick you out. I'm like, what do you mean get kicked out? He's like, you just won't be a leader. I'm like, okay. All right. I can do that. But I am so excited that the RWB finally has another chapter established here in Mobile. Because I tried to join years ago, and nobody knew anything. And I guess it was right after it disassembled or whatever. But I like that group because, while yes, it's about the veterans, it's also about the community that backs the veterans. Everybody's allowed to be there. Everybody's allowed to partake in whatever. And I like that. I do believe some things should be veteran oriented or service member.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just like, what's your profession? What do you do?
So I work with a chiropractor.
Okay, say you're in the medical field. I have no idea what any of that's about. If I went to lunch or dinner with you and your colleagues, I would feel so out of place, and it would be really awkward. That was the comparison I was trying to draw.
No, I guess yeah.
However, it is necessary, though, to have the community events where we all come together, because there are people like yourself, who are like, how do I get started? What's a good starting point to be involved? Because this is important to me. So, but yeah, that's one of the main reasons I like the RWB. Because
it's community.
Yes, absolutely. And that is necessary. If there's going to be any changes in the VA healthcare system, our voice is getting heard, it's going to start with community. Because again, we're less than the 1%.
Are you really? I did not know that.
Well, service members.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know about veterans. Service members, they say it's less than 1% join the military.
Wow.
Yes. I would have to look up the percentage of veterans that there are. But yeah, less than 1% people take the oath.
Wow.
Out of the U.S.
Wow. I just learned. I had no idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
And that percentage fluctuates.
Sure.
I think the highest I've ever seen it was right at 2% of the U.S. population.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and it all depends, obviously, on what's going on in the world. But think about 2% is not that much.
Sure, compared to our population as a country.
Yes.
Wow. Man. Oh, I've learned so much from you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, let me ask you this. If somebody wants to sign up for this rucking event on November 9th, you said, how do we sign up for that?
There is a link on Facebook, and I can actually send it to you.
Perfect.
So
I will post it. You got it.
I try to share it here and there. But yeah, you can just go in. It's almost like registering for a 5K. It's pretty self-explanatory. You put your info in. There's a T-shirt. I think it's a $25 registration fee.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's the first annual one. And then we will have a time of hanging out after party afterwards at Mancy's in Daphne.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And this will start out at the Civic Center in Daphne.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll be a good time. Aaron with Run Try actually donated some gift certificates for our raffle. Do you know about the little lemonade truck in Bay Minette?
No.
Okay. Do you know who Starla Chapman is?
No.
Okay. So she's 16 now.
Oh, yeah, she had cancer.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 years
Okay.
old,
Leukemia. Yeah.
Her mom is one of my best friends.
Stop.
So,
okay.
Yes. I met Deandra when Starla was diagnosed and all that.
And she was on a chef show.
Yes,
wasn't
she
she?
was on Master Chef Junior a couple years ago.
Okay.
I reached out to Deandra about doing a benefit. I didn't know them from Adam, but my mom was a huge, and which my mom was still alive at this time, but she is a huge advocate for childhood cancer awareness. So I reached out, I was like, look, I have a lot of local musicians that I'm good friends with. I would love to put on some type of event, and whatever money we raise, I'll get everybody to donate their time. Whatever donations we make will be to you. Because they had gotten to where they were skeptical because people would say they were doing benefits, but they weren't. They were doing benefits and keeping the money.
Wow. Yeah.
So why she trusted me, I don't know. I'm glad she did because I didn't know her. I just reached out to her, and I think we only raised $200 or $300 that day. And then met with her, gave it to her, and we've been best friends since.
Wow.
Love her. She donated a gift basket to our raffle, and they will actually be set up on site, the lemonade truck.
Oh, fun.
In which the lemonade truck is nonprofit, and all their proceeds go to help other families that deal with childhood cancer.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my goodness.
Full circle.
November 9th.
November 9th.
Oh,
I will
so
send
fun.
you the information
Yeah,
for sure.
I will be there.
Perfect.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. And I had no idea. I had no idea this was happening.
They're still trying to get the word out. I think they planned it around May or June. And it's just a couple. It started with just a couple of people. So I'm hoping we have a good turnout. But the truth of the matter is, it don't matter if it's only one person that shows up or 200. This will be something that we continue with annually.
Sure.
In hopes of taking it globally. The guys behind this that began the process, they are very much on fire for this. This needs to be done. We got to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where it goes in the future for sure.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Amber, I have learned so much from you. I'm just, do you have any final words of wisdom, my friend?
Oh, goodness. I'm a huge fan of celebrating the holidays. Even Memorial Day, yes, it is a Memorial Day, but do your barbecues, Veterans Day, any holidays that. But at some point, just take a minute and okay, this is why we have that. Just remember that. If you have children, teach the next generation. This is our next generation of leaders.
That's right.
And I was asked by a former professor that I had, a history professor, to lecture his class on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. It's his modern history class, and they are covering the global war on terrorism right now. They're hitting the 9/11 benchmark in their semester. So he asked me if I wouldn't mind coming and talk to him. I was like, sure, about what? He said, well, Amber, there's a difference in me teaching about this war that I did not participate in, and you who actually were a part of it. He said, if you're not coming, I was like, I'm an open book. I will be there. I love having a platform. Yeah, just the way it has taken forever to get to where I'm at now, as far as speaking in front of people and getting people to listen to me, or people even thinking that I have something worth saying. And it's funny because it all started with my daughter's little baby school in Satsuma asking me to do their Veterans Day program.
Wow.
And I did it the whole time. She's there from K-5 to 3rd grade. And then they didn't go any higher than that, so she had to go to a different school. I was still in the first year that I did it. I think the second year that I did it, I was still in. And then the last couple of years, I was already out. And that's when I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how. It's still my way of serving. I'm also a notary for the state of Alabama.
Just fun fact.
Fun fact. But I don't charge a fee for veterans. Anybody, if you can tell me a veteran's name or a service member's name, I'm not going to charge you a fee. It's something small, but that's my way of it's for you, So yeah, I just think we should all just be good humans. We should put good out there. We should be thankful daily. Yes. Because we could certainly be in worse shape than we're in. But yeah, just be good to each other. Check in on your people here and there. If somebody crosses your mind, 1 a.m. this morning, I'm at work. A friend of mine crossed my mind. I sent a text like, hey, you're on my mind. I know it's 1 a.m., but you know how I am. She texts back immediately. She was like, how'd you know? I'm like, you know how it works? She's like, okay, I appreciate you. I was like, I know. You'd be surprised. Somebody crosses your mind. 9 times out of 10, there's a reason. Sometimes it may be a coincidence. I don't know. But a lot of times there may be a reason. So.
Amber, I love you, my friend. That's all I got to say.
I love you.
I am so grateful. I just so grateful.
I'm so thankful you reached out to me about doing this. Very much so. I appreciate it. And I've actually enjoyed sitting here and talking to you.
Good.
And watching your faces across the table.
Watching the tears roll down, trying to keep it together.
Look, I was not planning on crying today, but it happens sometimes.
You are absolutely amazing. You have no idea. And to all of our veterans out there and all those that are serving, thank you so much for sacrificing all that you guys do and have.
Thank you for your support. That sounds generic, but it's not. It means more than you know. Absolutely means more than you know.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, ma'am.
Amber, so much for sharing your story. This was not easy, and I am so grateful for your friendship. I'm so grateful for your story, and I'm so grateful that you have chosen to take up the call to be a voice for our veterans and mental health. I am so grateful for that, and what an honor it is that you've used Run Your Story platform. I hope that this gets out there. I would love nothing more than this to go as high as it can go for our veterans, and that somebody out there hears this that can help our veterans and help them get all the help that they need, and for all of our current servicemen and women, that they get all the help that they need, whether that's physically, spiritually, mentally, whatever it is. They deserve the best of the best. And so I hope that you guys share, like, and comment on this. I don't care about the ratings for myself, for Run Your Story. I want this to be out there for somebody to reach out to our veterans, to reach out to Amber and say, what can we do? How can we help? That's what I want. So let's get this story out there. Let's get it shared, and let's make an impact. Let's show our veterans and our servicemen and women that we've got your six. We know you've got ours. We've got yours too. And let's be there for them. Amber, you are absolutely incredible, my friend. And I'm so honored to know you and to call you friend. And I loved our chat at the end after the podcast. She really is an open book, guys, and just so much we had in common. And I cannot wait to see what our future holds for our friendship, because she is an extraordinary woman. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to this. So thank you so much for sharing your story, and again for being an advocate for all of our current servicemen and women and our veterans. You are amazing. So thank you so much. And again, thank you to Fresh Junkie Racing and for all that you do for our veterans and other nonprofits. Thank you for putting on such an extraordinary race like Battleship 12K, because it's not too late to go sign up. So you can check them out again on the Run Your Story page, or you can check them out on Fresh Junkie Racing. You can also type in Battleship 12K and it's going to pull it up. And again, use that code RYS15, and that'll save you some money. And hopefully you use that money for picking a nonprofit that Fresh Junkie partners with. So again, so grateful to have such an extraordinary company that believes so much in our running community. So thank you to Fresh Junkie Racing. And as always, thank you to Mars Hill for giving us a place to share a story like this, to share Amber's story and some hard things. And so thank you for that, Mars Hill Church. They believe in our running community. They believe in who we are. And I'm forever grateful for that. Greg Gilliard from Gilliard Tech Services, thank you so much for all that you do with this podcast and believing in Run Your Story. And none of this would be possible without him, guys. Like, he spends so much time editing this podcast and making sure that everything flows well and sounds good. And I'm so grateful that he believes in this dream as well and believes in this running community. Guys, go see him for our website. He can get you hooked up. He can get you going. And he is a man of all things. So definitely go check him out, whether that's to freshen up your current one or to get you going for that startup. He is your go-to. So thank you again to Gilliard Tech Services for all that you do for Run Your Story. And to our Patreon supporters, thank you so much for helping us get to year 2 and now on to season 3. I am so grateful for our Patreon supporters. They are absolutely incredible humans, and I am so grateful for them. They believe in us, and there's no better feeling than to have that community that says, we've got your six. So I am so grateful for that. So make sure you like, share, and comment. Make sure that we help get this story out there. And we truly believe that every story needs to be heard. And we want our veterans and our servicemen and women to know that your stories matter and you matter. And we hope that one day you have the right health care that you need and deserve. And so thank you to every single service men and women, and to veterans, and to your families. Your sacrifice does not go unnoticed. You are loved and you're appreciated more than you can ever imagine. Thank you for allowing me to be able to run safe and to follow my dreams. And thank you for doing the hard things. Thank you for all that you do And until next time, guys, go run your story, because every story needs to